UFC 184 is in the books, which means it's time for Verbal Tap, the show that proves fighting is way easier from outside the cage. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, of course, Raf Esparza. Raf, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm really getting off the UFC 184 high, if you would.
Yeah, I got to train tonight, so I'm on a whole different high. I'm on post-injury, finally has felt the choke of another human being. Hi, it's a jiu-jitsu thing. Also with us to find out how badly he got his ass beaten, Albert, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right.
No need to have any tone yet. We haven't learned anything definitive, but here to help us review the fights. We appreciate you coming back because you are also a fighter. How many of the fights did you get to catch? Did you get to see them all?
For the most part, I saw. I think I missed the first and a half. So I saw the first one and I saw half of the second one, and from there I saw the rest.
The prelims or of the main card?
From prelims, I've watched all prelims. I watched the whole card, and I watched the UFC Fight Pass prelims. I saw the first. I missed the first. Saw half of the second, and I think there was another. I saw all three pretty much, or I missed one.
Yeah,
Okay,
I didn't see the Fight Pass cards. Raf, sorry, what did you?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, maybe you had some spotty internet, or did you lose interest, or were you just sleepy? Like,
Who, me?
yeah, why did you like? Who sees half a fight? Like, normally there's a reason.
I completely forgot. Like, I was busy getting ready because I have to go to Buffalo Wild Wings, so I was getting ready, and yeah, and then I just realized that the fights were going on, so I clicked on Fight Pass on my phone and watched it as I was in the Uber to
Very nice.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
That is
I want to take a moment to speak the high praises of Uber. I've never done an Uber, but as we were talking about off air, this Saturday happened to be my de facto bachelor party because I'm like not really having a bachelor party just because it was so late in the game. But my buddies were like, "Dude, let's get together to watch the fights," and I said, "Yeah, absolutely." It was $4 to take an Uber, and my mind was blown. I've never taken an Uber before, so
Love it.
A, great stuff. B,
Yeah.
It does change things when you go to a different venue. I go to one of my favorite bars, and the hard part about having it be your bachelor party is there's like a waiting list because you can't take reservations to get there. So you better believe all day at the bar I was at, I was playing hey, it's kind of a bachelor party, and it just changed everything. Suddenly they had seats for me. Suddenly everybody was like, "Do you want a beer?" So, to all of you prospective listeners out there, even if it's not your bachelor party, say it is.
Say it's your bachelor party. That's not terrible. That's awesome. So Rap had a great night. It's also his way of, and you sound a little old with the Uber comment. Uber's great. It is. You're right. It's just been great for like.
I've never used an Uber. I'm not an alcoholic drunk like some other co-hosts on this show. So, yeah, it was a great moment for humanity to sit there and go, $4? Really?
That's fantastic. So,
you
guys
Uber saved my life, man.
Oh yeah, Uber is.
Time out.
This is we're not turning this into an endorsement for Uber.
We need to get sponsorship, you asshole.
Yeah,
I'll take an Uber sponsorship. So wait, would Uber saved your life?
It saves my life. I don't have a car.
Oh,
so,
I thought you said it saved your life. Like it just rescued you one day. You were laying down a ditch, and an Uber driver came and rescued you.
He's like, "Hey,
I was drowning.
I got your message."
That's good. Yeah. He's like doing one of those apartment escapes the next morning. We don't know what Albert's life like, Maybe he's doing stuff. Let's get to the fights. Start up top, gentlemen. Ronda Rousey defeats Kat Zingano in the most, it looked like that first scene in any great war movie when they connect shields to swords for about 14 seconds and then it got brutal. What did you guys think? I'm going to kick it. Albert, you get to guest's honor. What'd you think, man?
It's funny because sitting at the bar with my girlfriend. I was like, dude, you know what? I just think Kat Zingano should just come out flying with a flying knee, dude. And she fucking, and she did it. She kind of, I don't know what the hell happened, but I was like, well, at least she learned, you know, I learned from her mistake. But I don't know, man.
Well, it's funny that you mention it because the internet seemed to think it was the dumbest strategy. There were many memes that compared this to one of the key plays by Pete Carroll's Seahawks, and were saying, wow, what a great strategy, said Ronda Rousey's, said Kat Zingano's coach. And it was a picture of Pete Carroll. So for you as a fighter, what say you about learning from all of that? What did you learn?
Shit, don't fuck with Ronda.
Well, I don't know, man. It sounds like she may be coming to your side of the fighting spectrum pretty soon if she clears out any more women in her division.
Yeah, dude. And she walks on at my like, you know, she fights at my weight class. It's like, fuck.
That'll make you think.
I'm gonna sneak in some powder or something, blow it in her eyes. I don't know.
Serious question, because Dana made like a crack about it, and I was shocked no one had a follow-up to that. They had a follow-up to every Cyborg question they could think of, but no one had a follow-up. He made a crack in the post-fight presser. You know, we're going to have to move her over to the guys division. At what point is that a genuine conversation? I guess her versus TJ Dillashaw? Like, you know TJ Dillashaw does not want that fight.
No, no way. No way, dude. She's legit a beast, man.
She might armbar anyone. Like, she might be one of those people that's like, if John Jones fucked up, you might get hip tossed and armbarred.
But
that's just how it feels.
You know, like, honestly, man, nothing against like female fighters. There are some that are beasts, but majority of them, you punch them in the face, they don't like it, man. So maybe if like a chick, maybe if she gets punched really, really, really hard in the face by a dude, I don't know, maybe because it looks like sometimes when she gets cracked, she doesn't like it very much, and then she goes to, you know, slamming you on the ground and then armbar you. So maybe if like someone punched you in the face really, really hard with some match strength, maybe.
Maybe, but I still feel that her strategy would completely change. I think that she'd be, all right, let's get it to the ground, and if you get too close on the inside, just that judo experience. And I think that's something that we learned, which was, here's my problem with the fight strategy, which was every armchair critic saying, oh, what a terrible strategy Kat Zingano used. And I'm like, what's been the right strategy?
Exactly.
You know, if anything, none of us have one.
Yeah. Well, the best person to go against her, or the best fight, was her against Miesha Tate the second time.
Yes.
And and she didn't really rush her. She kind of like picked her apart a little bit, like not really picked her apart, but, you know, was calm and used her range a little bit. So maybe a striker.
No, I'd agree with that. She did. She definitely won some exchanges, which we haven't seen. She won some exchanges, big time.
Well, not only that, but if you'll notice, Miesha was also using a very, very smart and specific style of wrestling against Ronda, and that was a very unique difference. Was that the wrestling you needed to get in and get out, and that's what I saw that Miesha had made the biggest adjustment from the previous time of fighting Ronda. But keeping it up and in the exchanges, that was what was working, and that's why it was so baffling when Miesha changed strategy in the second and third round, where you're like, no.
Yeah.
I just want to see her fight Cyborg.
All right, well, let's talk about that, because Kevin, you know, it's tough because Kevin watched, like a big kid, the post presser.
All 31 minutes of it.
Yes, and Kevin doesn't get to do a lot of these, so he was mystified why so many people wanted to talk about Ronda Rousey versus Chris Cyborg. Albert, I'll ask you, why is that such a thing? Like, why is that the only thing people can think about?
I don't know, because, you know, Ronda has become like the Mayweather of MMA. People, you either love her, you hate her, no matter what you want. Like, people hate her, they want to see her lose, you know, or people love her and they just want to see her win. But like, I think Cyborg is the only chick left, you know, and I don't know, man. It'd be an awesome fight. It'd be cool to see how Ronda would deal with it, but I still think Ronda would pull it off. But like I said, Cyborg punches like a man, so it's going to be like, I want to see how Ronda deals with that. And
It's
Cyborg
interesting
has a
because
jiu-jitsu game too. Yeah.
that's true. I'll ask you a 2-question follow-up here. The first, is that something you want to see? Is that a match you want to see? And 2, having said what you just said, do you think that's enough to ask a 4-minute leading question at a post-presser conference about the topic of Ronda Rousey versus Chris Cyborg?
Yeah. 4 minutes? What was the? Someone asked a question and what? Like it was a 4-minute question or a 4-minute answer?
Yeah. Let me do this, Albert. I'm gonna tell you to just the part of your brain that uses to use rational thought. Put it on mute for a second because Kevin's gonna explain what happened.
Ariel Helwani fucking said the following question. 2 seconds, by the way, not 5 seconds. 2 seconds after someone had just asked Dana White about another, like the third Cyborg question about if they were paying parts of her contract or not. Dana's like, I don't know. Who did it? Who said that? And they were like, the other guy. And he goes, well, you're going to have to ask him. So it's like, having a blast, by the way. Dana looked fucked up and having so much fun. And Ariel Helwani goes, Dana, I know you're a boxing fan. Dana White hears Boston fan and says, as Ariel Helwani's talking about Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, says, go Patriots. And Ariel Helwani stops and is like, well, that was a few weeks ago. and so they're like not talking about the same thing. That takes them about a minute and a half to figure out. And then Ariel Helwani restates all of the facts in an attempt to get Dana to now comment on the fact that they might be paying some of Cyborg's contract. So he asks this question and it takes 4 minutes. And Dana just immediately looks at him and is like, "What? Were you not listening? Both of you two can have a phone call with other guy on Monday morning." Like he's getting laughs and starts attacking.
Yeah, that's crazy,
he's like,
dude.
"Why are you asking me the same question?" So it took 5 minutes.
God damn.
Yeah,
Which
whack,
is
dude.
still half the time Kevin used to explain what just happened. So I understand the frustration here.
you guys
the time.
can't know. But that was my. No
The
one
reason
asked
why I bring
Alan
this up-
Haban a question.
Yeah.
By the way, no one asked him a single question. They were like, "Hey,
Again, this is
you
something
might
that
be
Kevin
a
has
badass."
not
He was
experienced,
just like,
which
I
is
wouldn't know.
watching another fighter sit miserably at the table when no one asks them a question. And it's
Yeah, that's
terrible.
bullshit.
Like we at Press Row, we hate it. So I usually, if I feel somebody's ignored, I try and throw them a question. But then sometimes they're so, like, if it's 30 minutes has gone by, they just look dejected. Like, they'll be on their phone. And that's the best part. You can tell how checked out they are because they're just retweeting people and on their Instagram doing their shit. So, Albert, you mentioned an interesting correlation that Kevin kind of glossed over in Ariel Helwani's 9-minute question, which was that there's a comparison between Ronda Rousey and Chris Cyborg to Pacquiao and Mayweather. Now, Kevin seemed very perturbed by even associating those things. You just mentioned that. Do you see that as an apt comparison, and if so, why?
Like I just saying that people hate Mayweather or they love Mayweather. I'm a fan, but a lot of people hate him because of who he is, mainly because he just wins and is confident in his game. And people want to see him lose. People pay to see him lose. So, yeah, I can see the comparison because people either want Ronda to win or want to see her lose. And they think Cyborg is, I guess you could say, the Pacquiao, beating everybody else on the other side of the ring. So it makes sense for them to fight. I think so. I compare them to Pacquiao Mayweather right now. I think it sells sick.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Let me also say, like, it sounds like, and I saw a report today on ESPN that they're already talking. So it sounds like it's looking like it's going to happen. Do we know what Cyborg walks around at?
I saw something 174 this morning.
Oh god damn! So
She put a photo
it's
in
like,
response.
Yeah, something like one. I
It's
saw
a
something like
cat.
174.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Oh,
We can
damn
also
it.
talk about the response because Cyborg tweeted out. "Hey Rhonda, can I or do I need to get somebody's number, or like Lorenzo or Dana's number to make this happen?" And Rhonda's mom, never one to mince words, responded by saying, "Yeah, I got a number for you, 135."
Oh, yeah, that's
So
pretty cool.
yikes.
That
I
is
will
pretty
also
cool.
add this, and mind you, I did not say this, so don't come back at me. I am just the messenger on this one. Somebody at the bar, when they went to Rhonda's mom, looked up and said, "Oh, who's Gollum up there?" And I said, "Oh no. That's one of the meanest things I've ever heard." But yet everybody was laughing, and I was like, y'all, if anybody heard that within remote distance who knows Rhonda, you would be dead by now. That would be, oh
Yeah.
my god, so rough. Yay, bar element.
I'm sure it's some sort of example I'm supposed to get. I just don't understand that.
You don't know who Gollum is?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
That's correct. So they just
Never
compared
seen it.
her.
Never seen it. Never read it. Just
You've never seen. Well, I mean, I don't blame you because nerd shit, but yeah, it's when you see it, you'll be like, "Yikes!" So let's move along.
So, I want to talk about Kat Zingano for a second, who definitely wins most emotionally distraught after interview award of 2015. Which,
I've seen
if
some funny vines on
we're
that.
giving it out, how come? And it was baffling to me that they were talking about Holly Holm in contention to fight Ronda Rousey. It was like, why would you even do that? That's not even a good. Like,
No.
why do that to Holly Holm right now? They're in different leagues. Why can't Kat Zingano fight her? If she's supposed to be, let's pair that up right now.
Yeah, Holly Holm versus Kat Zingano.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be dope. It'd be a cool fight. But at the same time, Holly Holm needs to work her way up. That win against Raquel Penning, like it wasn't really that like. It wasn't what I expected. I was expecting her to, like her highlight tape. Like she's a beast. Not saying Raquel's, not that great, but like, it's not enough for like to fight the number one contender. I don't think so. I think she should work her way up. I think she's like number 14 right now,
Yeah.
or maybe a little bit higher after that win. But she needs to grind her way up a little bit more.
The sad part
Kat
about this
Zingano,
is
Misha
it
Tate?
suffers. Yes, it suffers from the hey, I just saw this person fight, and that's in the same category that happens on most pay-per-views because they're like, oh, this heavyweight was on the same card, he should be next in line, even though he's like 15th rank.
Yeah.
Holly Holm was on the card. That is an accurate statement. I don't know that she fought at the caliber of bypassing everybody else. And
But you
I was
understand what I'm
drunk by
talking
that
about?
point.
Like, that was
But-
the question at the after presser was, is Holly Holm next?
Well,
Such a
again,
dumb
they ask
question.
really ridiculous shit at post pressers. Again, Kevin is going to need some kind of therapy after really sitting through and watching a whole one because
Well,
it's
I was just going to transition this. I was like, okay, well,
That's fine.
Rousey versus Ngannou, amazing fight, super memorable, historical, fastest finish in UFC.
well, the thing is, Kevin, I do want to agree
champion
with
round,
you,
like-
and this is why. Before we go on, I will say this: I think Misha versus Kat makes all the sense in the world right now because
Yep.
we
Yeah.
see them at two very different junctures in their fight life. And I don't like everybody knows we didn't see Kat. She got caught, and we didn't see her full range. And I think 2 years ago, the Misha Tate that is fighting now would destroy the Misha Tate of 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
I think it's not stupid to want to see that fight because we've got some time because Ronda already booked up another movie to film.
She's got Expendables 4 through 17, and she's got to do a few Fast and the Furiouses. I would for sure agree. And, we also, by the way, and you said this, maybe Misha Tate's a little bit better than we're even giving her credit for. At least she lasted. I mean, you get some sort of award for making it out of round one with Rousey. You should.
Yeah, Misha's a beast.
They
dude.
did. She's great, man, and they were complimenting her, Daniel Cormier, when they talked about how Ronda's performance was. Afterwards, they were asking Misha, and Misha goes, I'm just inspired to get in there, and I want to get to that caliber. Like every time I see Ronda, she's a great fighter. I got to give her that. But seeing a performance like that makes me want to get back out there and get to her level. And Daniel Cormier goes, well, let's not sell you short. You lasted the longest with her, and all of the guys in the back were saying you were her best match. And she's like, I want to get back there. So
Hands down, dude. Yeah.
yeah,
Make it happen.
that's it.
I'm enjoying this. It's good to. Okay, so this one I think will be pretty easy to, because Albert, you summed it up, I thought, pretty well with the Pennington home fight. This was one of those fights I think got saved by how good and how quick the rest of the card was, that we were okay with one taking a while. But it seemed like Holly Holm wasn't really punching that hard, and Raquel Pennington just didn't have a strategy to get the fight on the ground. What were your thoughts?
My thoughts. Like you said, I don't know. It wasn't. Well, I think it's the only fight that happened. So because everything else finished like in the first round, so you can give it that credit. Yeah, it wasn't the most exciting, but I don't know. Don't have much to say about it, man. I liked towards the end. Raquel throat punched her. And everybody thought that Raquel won. They're like, "Oh yeah, Raquel won because she throat punched her and she fell on the ground." Like, no, dude, she wasn't getting her butt kicked, but she was getting hit more than Holly Holm was the whole fight. So I don't, that's all I got.
Split decision. Yeah, I feel good about it. Raph, anything? Dynamite Dad. It better be great.
So 15 minutes is a lot when you're drinking a lot to really concentrate. It really, like, at a certain point, you're just sitting there, and especially when you have, my friends aren't exactly mega fans, so it's a different viewing experience. So you're trying to watch, and you're also explaining, but as I'm sure Albert's alluding to on his end, you have the bar element. So you have people yelling out nonsense that you ignore for only so long. And then you start looking at them like they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Dude, I get so pissed. There's this one guy that goes to sorry. There's this one guy that goes to Buffalo Wild Wings, the one I go in Torrance. I go there for all the fights, and he screams the same shit. He screams out Gracie Jiu-Jitsu for every fight, all the time.
Oh no,
Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Grace. I'm like,
oh no.
Pisses me off, dude. But
not that there's anything wrong with it, but let's just say
yes, there is.
There are some situations
to yell out loud at the camera.
There are some situations where you don't necessarily need to yell out Gracie Jiu-Jitsu at. Am I leading on this one?
I feel like
a
you're
knockout
happens.
Somebody yells out.
You're taking a stance.
Somebody gets a knockout, and they're like Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, dude, like the whole Holly Holm fight, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like,
it's like they haven't even grappled, motherfucker. Like, they haven't even touched that part.
Yeah,
they're not even. Their chests haven't touched.
I was so mad. I actually looked because he's there every time, and then finally during this fight, I looked at my girlfriend. I was like, dude, this guy must be like retarded or something's wrong with this guy because he's here every fucking every event screaming Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He's nuts, man.
He's an enthusiast.
Albert, I'm going to remind you of something real quick. You cannot get into a fight with this man because it sounds like this has not been a super isolated incident, and you are a contracted fighter. So you need to figure out if they have a table right next to him, you tell the waitress, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Book me anywhere else. Do not sit me next to that guy.
See, that's why I come during the prelims because nobody's there, and I get to pick what I want.
True.
Jake Ellenberger chokes out Josh Koscheck with a mean. What do they call it? They called it a guillotine, but it kind of looked like a modified Darce. What?
It was a Darce that went into a north-south. Yeah.
There was like no arms in there, right? He's like a front naked choke.
Kevin, you may want to talk with you may want to talk with Albert. I think he had some feelings on this one.
Uh-oh.
Mm.
Albert, were you feeling emotional about this particular fight?
Kind of, man. A little bit.
Why?
Because it lost it for me, man. This was when I knew it was done. And, yeah, dude. And the way the guy went out was pretty sad, dude. He was foaming at the
Super.
mouth. Like,
oh God, I forgot about that part. Oh my God, I had blocked that part out.
I thought it looked
That
like
was
he was
just-
dying there, dude. He had him in the whatever front naked choke or whatever. He had him and he's like flopping like a fish, and then he fucking like rotates over, and then like they show like him foaming at the mouth. I'm like, dude, what a way to go out, man. That's
Albert, the reason why I bring this up, and it's not to point out that you lost, which you did, and we'll get back to that in a few minutes, but it's to point out that you had bet on Josh Koscheck because he was the fighter you've seen the longest. And Kevin very rightfully put it back on you and said, is that really the best criteria to go off of? And it was a rough thing to see. It was so much to the point where it looked like a movie effect that they had put in the thing that makes you foam in your mouth to scare people during Halloween.
it was bad and
And
heartbreaking.
you know it affected. I knew it affected you because you sent me a photo of it while at the bar.
Dude, it was bad, man. It's just sad to see, like, you know, like, I'm not saying he was like ever one of my favorites, or, you know, I didn't look up to him at all. Don't really dig the blonde hair and douchebag kind of thing. But at the same time, he's not a legend, but he's been in the game for a minute. So I don't ever want to see anybody go out like that. I don't know, it just sucks.
It's very courtesy of you, except for the fact that you distanced yourself by saying, like, no, I didn't really believe in him. I don't even like his stupid peroxide hair and his face and his stupid fighting style. But yeah, I guess it kind of sucks that he went out like we did. So you said this is the moment when you realized things were not going well. We're going to talk about the rest of the fights, but we might as well just lift, I guess, the curtain off of the main event here. How many fights did you get right?
3, and then Rousey,
you
I
actually-
think. But how much?
Which
was
would
it
make
4?
4.
Yeah.
Yes, you got 4.
I think that was a given.
Yes. And Kevin did go for Kat Zagano because he said he had the stones too. So let's make sure to point that out. But Kevin, do you know how many you got right?
Enough.
Yes, enough. Enough is a great number. Kevin's the kid who, when they did times tables, instead of writing in the answer, just said, like, calculator? Kevin,
I just wrote "be me," and when the teacher was like, "What does be me?" I was like, "Blow! Don't question me." Yes, Raph. How does victory feel? Great. Was the foaming at the mouth the funniest thing I saw at the UFC 184? Yeah, I had blocked it out. Thanks for bringing that up. That was awful. Like, that was a terrible look. But most of all, was it the point when I also knew I had won? I don't know. I could just feel Jake Ellenberger pound his chest, and I don't know if it's possible, but I thought I saw him whisper, "That one's for Kevin."
probably not. But I think
Probably
not. But I appreciate you going there. Jake Ellenberger did definitely have a nasty, sick, disgustingly great choke. And the best worst part is he knew it was such a good choke that he was looking like, are we stopping this? And just the look on everybody at the bar. Because the hard part is when you do train and you're with people who don't train, you're kind of trying to explain what's happening. But there's no way to really
that one's a hard one
cover
to explain.
that because you're just like,
Drooling.
you know, I'd only maybe about 40 minutes earlier gotten through talking about how, like, you know, jiu-jitsu, I love it because it's pretty safe and nobody really
Yeah,
gets
exactly.
hurt
I was
except
just
for this
gonna say
guy who's foaming at the mouth and completely unconscious. And I guess even before that, Mark Munoz took a nap to the dark
Yeah.
side and didn't really know.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God, that was
That was.
what the fuck was going on with the referee?
Yeah, I know, dude. I don't know. That's CSAC for you.
Like,
you know.
Well, let me interject.
Roan Carniero had
Kevin.
to stop his own match and explain that
Kevin,
his
when
opponent
you
was
are
no
a
longer
ref,
awake.
you can never be too sure. You want to make sure not only that the eyes are rolled back, but that, the person just stops breathing for about 10 seconds.
That was
And then you
retarded,
should
dude.
really
Are you
step
sure
in.
he's not?
That
I've heard of this technique, and I believe it's borrowed from playing possum, but where fighters will pretend like they're asleep for 5 seconds, spring back to life. That's what happens.
I've heard that, man. That's pretty.
not bad.
That's pretty sketchy, man. I would.
If that's the case,
play with fire like that.
it's the deepest undercover version of it, yes.
No,
No, Mark Munoz also asleep, but so Ellenberger, great finish. Koscheck, he'll maybe a few more fights, maybe one.
nah, man. If he's
two.
smart, I from watching him because I kind of figured Ellenberger was going to win because right off the bat I saw how Koscheck was looking. He was very scared of that overhand right. He cracked him a couple of times, but for some his hand came back really low. He did get kind of cocky, but as soon as Jake almost cracked him, he kind of he was just weird. He doesn't look like he has it anymore. Or if I think he's washed up, and I think it's smart
sadly.
that forget about ending with a win. Just go home.
Yeah, probably. On the other side of his career, Alan Hoban looked amazing.
Did he get knocked out of the night?
Got to show off his. No, interesting enough. So there were 4 performance of the night bonuses given to Rousey, Ellenberger, Means, and Ferguson.
What?
But Dana walked out and said, "But I'm going to take care of the other guys too," and even mouthed to Alan Hoban, "I'm going to write you a check."
Yeah, I saw.
And
yeah.
Karen Bryant read his lips and called him out on it in the post-fight presser.
That's sick, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
his knockout was
the only good moment,
ridiculous,
but
dude.
yeah, it
And
really
I told
was.
you he's gonna stay pretty. That's all it's about, dude.
You were not wrong. He looked even prettier at the end of the match than he did before. I don't know how he had time to do his hair, but impressive
Exactly.
to be able to do it during the match.
He-
Ref, Tony Ferguson talking about title contention?
Nah.
I don't think we're at title yet, but we're getting there. We're getting closer fight by fight. And we like Tony here. I've been a big believer, man. I've been telling you since day one. He's not like he's improving at his striking at a very accelerated pace. And I don't think you can really question his jiu-jitsu. He's one of those guys who, you know what I mean? Like his arms are the perfect ability to darce you because it's got that, it's just the reach on it.
Yeah.
So you think about
Quite
that for
the opposite.
jiu-jitsu.
He looks lethal.
Yeah, he's a beast, dude. Do you see that look in his
but you
eye
think about it.
while he had the choke?
Oh, yeah.
Check that out, dude.
But you think about it,
Fuck.
those hands aren't going to save you either way. I mean, the extended reach is going to kill you on the ground, or it's going to kill you when he's striking.
Yeah.
So it's a very tough thing to mitigate if you're fighting.
He's dope, man. But who did he fight? Like, not Danny Castillo. The one before that, where it was a really close fight. Who was that? I thought I didn't think he won. Who was that?
Really? Are you talking about Abel Trio? No, that wasn't it. It was Danny Castillo. You're right.
It
That was
Danny
a split
Castillo?
decision win. Yeah.
Or no. I did think Tony won, but it was a close ass fight. It was really close. Because I'll never go for Danny Castillo for sure, but especially over Kukui. But title contention, not yet. I don't know. I think he's getting there though, for sure.
He looks good. Let's get him and some Benson. I would see him and some Benson Henderson fight. Wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be dope. That'd be sick to see. It'd be good. It'd be dope because he's worked really hard for it. But it'd be kind of scary, man, because I'm a fan of Ferguson's, and Benson's a beast. So I have 100% confidence in Ferguson, but it'd definitely be a no biter for me.
Yeah, but you got to test him. He can't be choking people out that easily. Like, he's been on a beast.
He was nuts.
Obviously, I'm overstating. It's obviously Tibao's a great opponent. I mean, it's a great opponent, so it's a great win. Roan Carneiro is actually he apparently moved up a weight class to fight this fight and is moving back in. Looked vicious. His ground game is good. Yeah.
Kevin all of a sudden got very Swedish toward the end of that.
Yeah, I did feel like it's like, it's good, yeah? Like, guys, you're not with me? The first rule of improv, dickheads, is yes and. You chime in with a yodel-a-hoo. What's the...
Wow. Please, Kevin, continue telling me what the first rule of improv is as you work to finish the sentence in your head. Now, you're talking about the thing is, did you guys ever think that Mark Munoz got his game off the ground?
No, man.
No, he didn't seem to have a chance to.
No. And I think that was the most
fight
unfortunate
ended
part.
quick, right?
No, I mean, he got the rear naked
I guess
choke.
like a minute in, yeah.
You know, he's a favorite to a lot of people, man. Like, he helps a lot of people out, you know, especially like in the MMA world. Like, he opens his gym to a lot of people. But I think it's about that time to probably go to like World Series of Fighting or like Bellator. Just, you know, I don't know. He's still UFC caliber, but it's like, what are you gonna like? I don't know. I don't think he has another title run in him. Maybe at Bellator.
See, I think he looked fine to me. I think Ron Carneiro is better than people thought. I think Mark Munoz has a few more fights. Like, he just looked like, I think we're going to end up looking back at this in about 4 Ron Carneiro fights, and it's going to be like, he's a fucking beast.
True. That's true.
I'll say this. I also think Mark Munoz is highly popular. There's a reason you get put in that slot. The Fox Sports one, not on the pay-per-view, but just close enough to make people watch it. So I think they know he's got some great monetary value. And I usually like watching what he does and bringing his wrestling game. I think he's fought some really fucking hard fights. Like, if you want to say that you... if you want to say he lost to Gegard Mousasi, which, tough competitor, and Lyoto Machida, which was a vicious loss. I mean, those are high caliber people. Those are top 5 folks.
Sure. So he'll be the gatekeeper. Oh, sorry.
No. I think you're right.
Gatekeepers again.
He'll be the gatekeeper for the top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But
that's an important role. That's the Jake Shields role.
But think about it.
That's
the other people he's beaten, you know, he's beaten Damon Mia, Maya, and then CB Dalloway, and like you're looking at that, and those wins over pretty prominent people who are still in the top contention of the top 10 of that division, or of a different division. I'm sorry, but if you look at that, I mean, you're still within the realm. It just is. He may be slowing down. It may be time to discuss different options, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do. Yeah, I'm interested to see if they have some other fights that are outside of title contention.
Yeah.
Next fight, Roman Salazar couldn't see at the second round. Yamamoto and he goes to no contest.
That was bullshit. That would have tied us up. And the kid, I think, was winning. Yamamoto was winning.
He's thought about it. This one's a thinker. I love it. That one was bullshit. I've been where you are. I've felt that pain.
If any of you haven't picked up by now, this is the first time we've had an over-under Kevin participant who had his picks and Kevin's picks either written down, but I'm going to say it's written down rather than memorized to the point where he could do it from recall, but written down and knew exactly where he was throughout the evening.
Just, systems guys. They're well-meaning and well-disciplined. They just struggle to make the accurate picks.
And I think that was where I wanted to bring the question to you, Albert. Why do you guys lose to Kevin so bad?
Dude, I don't know, man. Just, I guess the universe feels bad for him, and he's got to win sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
I'll take it.
There's tons of other things Kevin's terrible at, and the universe never really intervenes. It's something in particular.
Maybe they beat me up so bad I vomited, and Karma's like, Kevin gets swung.
Sure. Now, we're going to, like I said, we'll get to these last couple things because I've got a couple things to talk about with Tim Means and Diego Lima and Derek Lewis and Ruin Potts. But
Yeah.
if you were to,
one of those fights was my favorite of the night.
of course, if there is one person that you think from Systems Training Center who can break the spell, I will be happy to book them on a future installment of Over Under Kevin. Who do you think that might be?
Okay, at Systems, who's pretty knowledgeable? I would say you've already had them. You've had both of them. Vince and Terry are pretty good. But you know what, man? Let me see. Christos happens to be like a very lucky guy, so you can try that guy out. I don't know how he wins, dude. Like he wins a lot of stuff. Just like I don't know. Or try Vince's girlfriend. She's freaking good. She got second place in fantasy football, and I think she got first place last year. I think.
Damn.
She's a beast. So she might be a good one to pick. But if
We
you want
may
to
have
go fight, I would say, like try out Christos or something.
Okay, well, we're looking to get Christos on one of the future installments of the show. Just period. He has a fight coming up in Brazil, I think, in a few weeks. So Christos, he's a beast of a fighter. We can't wait to see him back in there. He's been described as maybe one of the best natural athletes out of your guys' gym. So we got mad respect for him out this way. But let's take a second to talk about Tim Means and Diego Lima, because this one hurt. This one hurt the soul.
Dirty Bird.
Because, like I said, Diego and Tim Means were both fans and friends of the podcast. So we kind of had to take a back seat to really, really having a major preference. But in this one,
you did.
Man,
But you did.
Well, I did.
But you
Kevin
did.
did for the purpose of the game. Don't look at me.
I had
So I hope Tim Means listens to this show and knows what's up.
Tim Means knows what's
Yeah,
good.
dude,
Don't
he
try
put a
and put us there.
statement, dude. He's like, yo, I heard what Kevin said, and he went out there and beat that ass.
He did look like vicious stuff. Class act
And then he
on.
looked in the camera and said, that was for you, Albert.
Well, you both picked
He
Tim Means, so that really wasn't necessarily anything that was one person knew it over the other. I think it was just we wanted a better fight from both fighters. And it is rough when you see one of your friends get destroyed like that in a way where you there's nothing you can do.
beat up. Hey, Tim Means is good.
Yeah.
Tim's good. He's on
Good.
He's just got a Nick Diaz sort of fuck you kind of approach. It seems.
I love it, dude.
I like it.
Just like, and he said it, like, and he does have the nastiest elbows in MMA right now. I think he elbowed the shit out of him. Like,
Yeah, he
it was,
really.
it was dope. I loved it.
And when you get caught with an elbow, it's hard to recover, as most people don't. Derek Lewis and Ruin Potts. That fight was awesome. That was damn close to going the exact other way, because Ruin Potts had that sick knee bar to heel hook attempt that was beautiful. This was like a great MMA big guy match. Like Ruin Potts did. Like I'm obsessed with him now. He's also a dental surgeon or something. Like this was like a hobby that he started doing that he fell in love with. So Ruin Potts is amazing. I can't wait to watch him fight again. Derek Lewis is the biggest motherfucker I've ever seen.
Sure.
I think in the cage, like he's huge, and he punched Ruin Potts really hard, a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I was glad not to be Ruin Potts in that case. Great fight though. Sorry, that was my commentary.
It was a very solid fight.
Dude, this was actually one of the fights, because I actually took notes on this. Is the one where I exceeded the time and you said note taking was wrong. Well, I took notes and I saw that he was actually even in submissions and finishes by like TKO and KO.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We're out of time again, guys. It's a shame. We ran out of time for Albert to explain. See, Albert, the problem is not so much that you you took notes. I mean, first of all, that's kind of insulting that you would bring actual analysis onto the show. But secondary, I think the problem for us is when you take a while to communicate what's on said notes, we've only got a limited amount of time on this show. I have time for you to work into it and go, hold on, let me check subsection 8. Subsection 8 in this fight, it's
All right.
Ruin Potts. His submission percentage is 9-2.
But we have time for you to go on this 2-minute tirade berating him about his.
Good
Well, the
try,
reason
Kevin. Why
why
don't you tell me a little bit more about Ariel Helwani, please?
Well, the thing about improv is, Raph, that you just have to stay limber.
Is that what improv is? Okay. No, I'm sorry,
stuff.
Albert. As you were saying, if you want to finish your thought, because we appreciate you, we don't appreciate each other.
Got you. All right. Well, first, in my defense, the reason why it took me so long is because I can't read my own writing sometimes. I'm going to be really honest.
No.
Yeah. I'm a fighter, dude. I have horrible penmanship, and I suck at reading, so it's really, and my eyes kind of suck. It was really hard.
Wait, that was 3 excuses all in one. At first, I was like, I feel
really good,
sorry
though.
for you. Your penmanship's bad. Wait, you can't read and your eyes are bad? You shouldn't be hitting people in the face.
No, that's why I should be hitting people in the face. Big target.
Because you
and-
need to squint to walk near them and figure out if you're...
Well,
It's the beauty of being wired not quite like an MMA fighter.
Well, the good news is Albert just
Nice.
knocked out the ref because he has
Yeah, 'cause
really
I
bad eyes. He doesn't know what's going on.
yeah. Well, so like
He also knocked out his opponent, so good news, good news.
yeah, I was excited because you don't normally see a big guy with with as many finishes as he does submission. I'm a jiu-jitsu kind of guy, and I was thinking this guy might be like Frank Mir, like the new Frank Mir, but he doesn't like to get punched like Frank Mir. So I guess he is kind of like the new Frank Mir. That'll help you fix your teeth.
Well, I think that'll conclude all of our analysis for the UFC 184 card. Fun times. Glad we had some really cool finishes. We should get to talking about what you have to do, though. So, in losing the bet, what do you have to do, Albert?
All right. I gotta come in like a wrecking ball. I have to make a short video, but I'm gonna go all out, because I was upset that I lost, but I'm kind of happy because it sounds fun. So I gotta make a video dedicated to Kevin, and the chorus I guess will be Kevin came in like a wrecking ball, and
Yeah!
it's gonna be awesome.
I'm already excited.
Nope.
I gotta tell you, I smiled a smile as I knew the results were coming down because I just felt like I was winning, and I knew how many I had picked. And I was like,
Which is a
feel pretty
very
good.
new experience.
I had this
right?
like, it came in like a wreck, just like playing in my head. And there's a lot of euphoria.
Is it weird that I've watched that video and the original Wrecking Ball just to get like the best?
It's not
The
weird.
best video I can possibly get.
I believe it.
That's
And you know
great.
what? I
like
mean,
it.
I look forward to it. I don't want you to tell the audience too much or reveal any of your craft.
Oh no!
But can
No,
I
we're
ask
not.
one question real quick? Question is, will we see a little bit of Systems Training Center here in this?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know. I didn't want to ruin any other major surprises, but I think I know where you may be going if that's the case. Well, we look forward to it. I think it's one of our funner bets that we've ended up putting out. Albert, where can people find you?
Instagram, Facebook, no Twitter yet. Can't figure out how to use that thing. Instagram would be Collie Ears _Al. And then Facebook, just Albert Morales, and I have a fan page, Albert the Warrior Morales. And you can find me at Systems Training Center, Coast Fitness, and Black House.
Love it. And tell us, do we know any future fights coming up for you yet? Is something in the works?
Well, yeah, something's in the works. Something real soon is in the works. Like really, really,
Okay.
really soon. Okay.
That's what we like to hear, dude. I like that tease. That means we'll have to have you back on in a more pleasant form when we can
Yeah.
just talk about fights and not have you losing to Kevin. And we started this new segment on the show, and I want you to participate because I don't know if you heard, but we had two of the other systems guys on recently, and the game we played with them is called Who's the Worst at Systems Training Center.
I knew this was going there because I heard that podcast.
Okay.
Hey, points.
Shoot, who's the worst?
Yes.
Dude,
Define that however you will.
It's pretty hard, man. It's pretty hard.
Because I'll tell you,
guys
Marcus
want me
got
to
a
say-
little hurt.
Yeah, I know
He
you're
got a
gonna
little
want me
hurt
to say
at
Marcus,
Vince.
but I have like an unconditional love for Marcus, and I can't talk any more shit about him. That's between me and Marcus. Who's the worst? Shit, that's a hard question because there's so many. I would have to say Dima,
Okay.
Dimitri, just because I can't grow a beard and he can, and when we roll or clinch up, I get beard hair in my mouth sometimes. So that's probably why.
That's as good.
So I would say,
I like it. That works. I mean, that's a good. That's as
dude,
nice and specific.
I've gotten in trouble. With my girlfriend. I came home with little Dima hairs all over me, and whose hair is that? So I don't know, babe. And then I realized it was Dima's. So yeah, Dima's got to be the worst.
Okay. We like
you
that.
heard it here.
I mean, we get to the bottom of things here.
Albert, thank you so much for stopping back
No
by.
worries, guys. Thank you guys for having me.
Coming off a huge, memorable knockout, UFC Fight Night, we have on the line Sam Smilin' Alvey. Sam, that nickname has started to develop. Do you feel like that's going to be the one that sticks for you?
Oh, this nickname, I've had it for years now. Oh, yeah. Hi, by the way. Thanks for having me on.
No, yeah, we're so great. You literally smile during, and this is, you've probably answered a lot of questions about this, but both Raph and I, the anxiety of combat sports, you just walk right in, and you have this relaxed look on your face. Why? Why do you do that? How are you able to stay so calm?
I really like doing this. Just imagine something you guys really like doing. I'll bet you smile while doing that too. I've been saying a lot lately that I'm getting paid to do something I would have done for free, and I've just been blessed with it. So I've got no reason not to smile. I'm just happy from minute one to in this case minute 3.
I was going to say, not to the end of the...
More credit to you. I love doing this podcast, but you don't see me smiling half as much as you do.
never.
So, so tell us about this. You had a fight a couple weeks ago. You went down to Rio. Just refresh my memory, because I'm not sure I remember it, almost as if I got knocked out like some crazy opponent of yours. But what happened? Talk us through that fight.
I went down there, and I knew who he was. I mean, he won Tough Brazil. He's a very impressive guy, and if you ever see him fight, he really is an impressive fighter. But I knew what he was good at. I knew he likes kicking, and he has some hard kicks. I also know he has. I kept telling people it's a terrible takedown that works 100% of the time. I don't know how he gets such success. So the first round, the plan was go a little slower and kind of feel out what he wanted to do. And it was either he was going to try and take me down or he was going to try and kick me a bunch. Well, he tried to kick me a bunch. I should say he succeeded at kicking me a bunch. But while he was doing it, I wasn't taking a lot of damage, and I was mapping out his range. He finally closed the distance with that big, upwards elbow, and I caught him there. He closed the distance on me, and I was just kind of waiting for my second.
Because the reason I bring this up is you told Frank Trigg, I dare Cesar Ferreira to hit me with his kicks. And even in your post-fight interview, you said your strategy was to just get kicked a lot and then work from there, which for me, maybe not my most leading strategy, maybe because I'm not very durable, but for you, am I allowed to say that's kind of insane?
If it didn't work, I'd say it was kind of insane, but it worked. It worked just fine, so I think it was brilliant.
This is the part where he, exercises his one-hit knockout ability. Your profile at I Like This, it says you have an of the night style.
Yeah.
Is that essentially your way of saying, I just have a really heavy right hand, and I will sort of knock someone out at any point?
Any part of you that I hit you with is going to have a lot of power on it. Right hand, left hand. If I ever get my foot up there, my foot too. I'm fighting for the fan. Every punch I throw, every elbow I take is trying to impress someone. And you know what? It worked this last time. I had a great bout. It was very entertaining, at least from what my Twitter fans have been saying. And I'm an of the night guy. I think Joe Lozon right now has the record for most of the night wins or of the night nights, and I would love to beat that record.
You also know if you turn people around or people just like you. With the Brazil fans are super honest, and at first it seemed like they were obviously favoring Cesar. Oh God, I can't even say his last name. Ferreira. My Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructors.
R's or H's, Fahara.
He's definitely choking me for that. I'm getting choked for that. But you won the crowd. Like with the knockout, they were like, okay, we like the big, gawky redheaded dude. He's great. So that's how you know you've earned approval at least.
Yeah, it was so much. Everyone kept telling me, said if you win, they're going to boo you. If you walk out, they're going to boo you. If you're fighting well, they're going to boo you. And I left out of that. I left the ring with them cheering me. They were great fans. I hope I get the chance to fight for them again. And I was so pleased that they were cheering for me.
Did you expect to do the Hulk Hogan call and response ears and throw your T-shirt into the crowd? Was that something that you had worked out ahead of time in case you won, or was that just spur of the moment?
No, that was spur. Everything I say, everything I do is spur of the moment. I got backstage and I'm like, oh, I forgot to say this, I forgot to do that. But no, it's just whatever comes out. I do my best not to think that far ahead.
I forgot about the Hulk Hogan. That was the other part of Raf's excitement. You were really like, we've got to talk to this guy. I was like, I hear you. Okay.
I mean, you have to give it up to a fighter who literally gives you the shirt off his back. And for us, it was exactly what we like in talking to people on here. Somebody who fights great, who's got a great attitude, and has a good sense of humor about themselves. So all of those things were winning combinations. But tell us about this. What do you do when you're not fighting? What happens in your life? So you get back to California. What's the first thing you do after you win a big fight like that?
First thing I did this time is the same thing I've done after every UFC fight. I went to Disneyland. I spent the day hanging out with my family. A good buddy of mine came along to help watch the kids, and we just went Pirates of the Caribbean and Terror Tower and all that. And we had a blast doing it. My wife is a Disneyland nut. I can't wait till I fight in Florida because I'll hang out at Disney World for a few days then.
Yeah, I was going to say, make an Orlando trip. That's fantastic. Yeah. There's got to be some memes on the internet of like Sam Alvey on Saturday, and it's him like violently knocking someone out with like a huge match. Then it's like Sam Alvey on Wednesday. It's like him and the family taking a really sweet picture with Goofy. It would be like, that's a great T-shirt. Just one on the front and the back. It's like, this is this fighter. What happens in the food department while you're at? Because this is always Raph and I's thing. Because you're a 185 pounder. I don't know what you normally walk out at, or if you have to cut much. Are you also partaking in Disneyland's amazing snacks?
Oh yeah. See, I've got a rule. 1 week after I fight, I am allowed and encouraged to eat absolutely everything that's bad for me, and as much of it as I want. After that 1 week, I lighten up, and remember I don't have a heart attack anytime soon. But for that week, I go out of my way to eat terribly.
What's the worst thing you ate?
In that part. What's that?
What's the worst thing you ate?
Oh, let's see. I was just in Arizona last week, and they have Culver's out there. And I went to town on Culver's. They've got the custard and they've got the butter burgers, which is where they take their buns and their patties and they dip them in butter before they serve them to us. Oh, they're awesome.
Oh no, I was about to.
That.
I was about to say, what's your my one cheat once a week after a fight kind of thing? It's just my normal thing. At Culver's, they have the most ridiculous cheese curds. They're very, very good. But I don't know how much damage or life they take away from your expectancy. Okay, Sam, I got to ask you a couple things because here are things that we have learned about you that we're a little bit more interested on.
Which also starts to make more sense. I'm feeling like after this conversation started till now, it's like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. The loving of Disneyland, I totally get it. It's right with you. Totally understand it. But little known fact, you are a semi-pro trumpeter. So would you say that you were like a band nerd?
Oh, growing up, I was a huge band nerd. I was the band board president 2 years in a row. I was the first trumpet in my high school for 3 years, sophomore, junior, senior years. Then I went off to college. I played in college, and then after that, I played, and it was a semi-professional band. I was playing with a bunch of people that used to be professionals but retired. And so it was an incredible band. The Lakeshore Wind Ensemble, they were called. So yeah, I spent close to 20 years playing the trumpet. And, I miss it. I still have my trumpet. I still tutor on it every now and then. But it's I used to be able to play for hours, and now I can play for minutes before, you say you blow your lips out when your lips just won't make that sputtering sound anymore.
Yeah,
so
the trumpet especially,
someday.
It's like a big durability instrument. Like you have to build up a lot of, grappling. Like you have to just keep doing it.
Yeah, big time. I mean, your lips are muscles too, I guess. And I used to play for hours on it, and now it's minutes on it before I can't do it.
But
anymore.
when you talk about,
so go ahead.
When you talk, I'm sorry, I just wanted to catch this one part. Is you said that you were playing with retired trumpeters?
Yeah.
Do you sustain
trumpeters.
injuries, or when do you retire when you trumpet? I don't know anything about this world.
Well, they used to play with big symphonies, New York Symphony, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I mean, these big ones. And once they make their money and they go as far as they want to go with it, because like fighting, you've got to practice every day. No matter how good you are at trumpeting or fluting or drumming, you have to practice every day. And as soon as you want a little bit slower lifestyle, you retire and enjoy what you've done, and then you just play for fun.
It's fantastic.
I guess the other thing I'll take the bait in this because I feel we may get into an even nerdier world that I'm not going to understand.
Before you go there, because you have to ask that, I do want to make this one comment. Might be the first person that's like, I had to look in the mirror and decide, was I going to be a professional MMA fighter or was I going to follow my passion with the trumpet? And made the right call, dare I say, and me and the people of Rio agree. I just think that's a really funny. That's probably not many other MMA fighters. Music.
Well, I think it's safe to say Shane Carwin wasn't trumpeting. So I think you have a strong ability to say you're the best trumpeter in the UFC. Is that a claim that you're willing to stand by?
You know what? I guess I never thought about it, but I'd have to agree. I said I am the best trumpeter in the UFC.
All right.
Cool thing.
I like that.
Let's throw down. If someone wants to challenge me, I'm open.
Happy to host that challenge.
Yeah, we'll totally sponsor it on that.
Next big win, throws the shirt into the crowd. Someone tosses him his trumpet, and he just whips together a quick 5-note fury pitch. I'm just throwing ideas out there for celebrations.
Yeah.
Just throw ideas.
All right, so talk to me about this, Sam, because I'm not going to understand a word that you say, so there may be questions and follow-ups, but work with us on this. You are also the best Pokemon competitor?
In the card game.
No.
Right?
I have done nothing to prove that other than to myself. But I have built myself one giant Pokemon empire. I crush children like it's a hobby. I have so many hours put on Pokemon. It helps me with my fighting. I mean, I'll train 6 hours a day during the camp. And in the hours that I'm not working or training, I'll just kind of relax and play Pokemon or play Super Smash Bros. 2. But yep, I'm back on a Pokemon upswing right now.
Have you like pulled like Dan Henderson aside and been like, "Yo, man, that was some great work on the mats today, but we all know where it's all going to get settled. Pokemon cards, let's go."
Have I done that with Dan? No, not Dan, but I have done it with some of my other teammates. I got a feeling Dan wouldn't be too receptive with the Pokemon landscape. But,
well, I mean, he was the first person I thought of when you said Pokemon.
I hope he just whips out a deck and destroys you. Like, he just immediately beats you. Like, no problem whatsoever.
The best thing about him is he's super wily. He does things you don't expect. So what if he totally surprised you and was like, "Yeah, man, I'll poke you out any day, man."
We had a dodgeball tournament at our gym, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and Dan joined it. He was a surprise guest star, and that dude can throw a dodgeball. I mean, for an aging fighter, he's pretty nimble.
Oh, MMA journalists are not doing their job because someone should have been recording your team playing some dodgeball and posted that to YouTube. I don't know how I didn't see that.
I'm sure we're going to have another one coming up pretty quick.
Awesome. Well, Sam, you've been a blast in the UFC this year. Raph and I have been following you for a little while. We're so stoked to get you on the podcast. Can't wait to, we'll obviously be watching the UFC. We know, as was discussed in the post-fight presser, you'll be back in a card very soon. Do you know who that is yet? Do you know next opponent?
I don't know yet. I called out Daniel Kelly, but it was honestly because I like the guy. I like his style, and I think we're another of-the-night kind of performance. But I don't know. I got to talk to the UFC. I want to get in there as soon as I can. I've no real injuries. I feel healthy. If I could fight in April or May, I'm on board. So I'm keeping my weight down. I'm going to start lifting here in the next day or two, and just I'm going to be ready to take a fight on short notice.
Yeah, I know you've had great turnarounds, and I think it shows really well that you got to stay consistent while you're hot, and if you're there, it definitely doesn't hurt. However, can I make a suggestion? Every time we say "of the night," it sounds like another slang term for like a prostitute.
Disagree, but well, maybe.
I'm just saying. Well, because if you refer to somebody, you say, "Oh, they're of the night," and it's like,
yeah,
oh, okay,
okay. I guess
well,
if you
for
say
the right
it like
price, nothing's off the table.
There's the new slogan that goes on the T-shirt, just for future reference. Great place to end it. Thank you so much for swinging by the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Alvey.
Hey, thank you guys very much for having me on.
I drink from the keg of glory. Raph, I drink from the keg of glory.
I will say you are on more of a win streak against Systems Training Center.
Yeah.
So that,
which is like the one winning streak everyone can get behind.
Well, it's also not very impressive when you think about it, because you're only beating Systems Training Center,
Agreed.
which Life does as well.
Yeah. Well, you got to start somewhere, and frankly, like Drake, I'll start at the bottom, but then I'll be...
Don't you dare goddamn quote Drake on this podcast.
I'll quote Drake on this podcast if I feel the need to quote Drake on this podcast. Do we have a Drake on this podcast clause?
We do. Drake is the worst.
I'll get to that clause. I do need to reread it. Admittedly, it's been a little while. 2 years. What a podcast tonight. UFC 184 was great. Some really solid fights. Just nuts fights, too. Also, it was over before midnight our time, which is insane. That never happens. That's like moving clocks. So we're going to get to a little segment we like to call Shoutouts, Raph.
Awesome.
It felt so effing amazing to be training again tonight. To roll the guys up there at the BJJ MMA Academy, Chantilly, VA. We had some killers on the mats tonight. Always fun to have a big group training. My knee held up. We'll see how tomorrow goes. So shout out to them for some great rolls tonight. Check out BJJ Finder, the world's premier jiu-jitsu site locator. I think That's going to about do it for me, Rafa Esparza, except to say people should also be tuning into The Roar. Google The Roar. It's an Australian sports blog. Opinion. It's more than a blog. It's like a whole opinion thing. Check it out.
Good. Well,
I'm killing it tonight. I've obviously trained and I'm like not used to the then adrenaline dump of after.
yeah. I mean, you're making the most through it.
Thank you.
You're doing. Thank you. Okay. Malfunctioning. Let's go ahead and say some great thanks. I want to actually start off by thanking two of my best buddies, Brian Bond and Bobby Voong. They came up to come chill over the weekend and watch some fights, and it was good to see. They are my two longest tenured friends, so I couldn't ask for more cool things than to shoot the shit with them, explain the fight game, and watch Josh Koscheck foam from the mouth and try and explain what the fuck that really means. It was kind of a rough thing to do.
Okay, guys, it's not as complicated as you think. He has rabies, so what were we supposed to do?
Yep. So there's that. So let's say sweet. Let's also thank Sam Alvey. That was a lot of fun to talk to him.
Badass interview. He's super cool.
God, so cool. We will definitely look to have him back on the podcast very, very soon. I also want to give a big shout out to our buddy Ruben Avelia because dude wrote a really cool article about his experience. He got injured late in 2013, and he was prepping to do the San Francisco Open. And back in 2014, he had like a year off of injuries, and he ended up going back this January and taking gold in his division and I believe silver in absolute, and wrote a really cool blog about what it took for him to get back there. And if you've listened to it, you know Ruben's good people. He did shout us out on his article, which totally not necessary, but we appreciate it. And Kev, you know what he did say at the end of the article, though?
What?
Hey, where my picture at, Kevin? Hashtag don't be scared, homie.
I thought he might. Don't be scared, homie. I'm going to start working on them right now.
Please do. Let's go ahead and shout out our buddies Marcus Koval, Travis Newaza, and Travis Connolly, all out here for the Rev Gear competition. There was a Rev Gear Pro competition. I wish I would have been able to attend it and to say what's good about it, but from every account I've heard, we had a lot of our friends, like Eric Medina, placed there, but all of them had really good tournaments between Marcus, who's the worst. I don't care what Albert says. He is the worst. Marcus and both.
Systems Training Center.
It's still a terrible impression. And Travis Newaza killed it in, I believe, absolute. And Travis Connolly was there, ref to read some good stuff. It's always funny when you can see him do his thing. So our thanks to them for that. And let's see. I think the last ones are going to be my buddy Jaime Gonzalez from our good friends at bjjrants.com. Came to train with us last week, Kev.
Jaime. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, dude. It's always good rolling with him. He's a very, very great aggressive player. So it's always cool to get a chance to hang out with him, chill, shoot the shit. So my thanks to him. My thanks to everybody at Valley Martial Arts Center.
VMAC.
It sounds like some broken kids morning show version of the song.
Yeah, I did have but I didn't think that was as abrupt and wouldn't ruin your day as much as off.
Well, not really things like that ruin your day. Don't think it's really gonna kill me. Slow it down.
No, just your moment collectively.
So definitely we want to say a big shout out to that because that was a lot of fun to train with him, and I had to get him back for tickets to Jimmy Fallon. I hooked him up with some tickets to Jimmy Fallon, and let's just say a bet's a bet, and he had to lose a bet. So our good friend Jaime was good people. And before we go, I also wanted to shout out, dude, Kevin, this is a great note. we had somebody tag us on Facebook the other day, and it was in a way that I thought was cool enough for us to mention. I don't know if you saw this, but somebody
Possibly. I
possibly
don't know what.
okay. We get
What,
tagged.
what is it? Oh.
What is it? I'll go look at it now. Our buddy actually tagged us, and it's from like a college humor site, and what it did is it put a Parks and Recreation mashup with like all of the superheroes from the Marvel, or I'm sorry, the DC Comics world universe. And he tagged us in there. And the reason why he said is because we talked about the Parks and Rec, I think, finale on our last episode. And so our good friend, I believe it is Simon Ross Hall, tagged us in there and said, hey, I thought we would tag you, Raf, because we know you and Kevin are huge Parks and Recs fans. And I said, thank you so much. That's really, really cool. It really made my day. It's really funny. I'll send it to you, Kevin. But he said, hey, you guys get me through my days at work. So to our good friend Simon Ross Hill, we want to say thank you very much, man. We appreciate that. We hope you continue listening. And good shit, man. Send funny links like that to us. And we're always up.
Like, plus, I'll watch anything Parks and Rec related. That's why I was like, wait, where is this? Hold on, because you said Parks and Rec.
Kevin's like, you did
2 for 2. Sorry, completely distracted. This is why Ref waits till the end of the podcast to say these types of things.
Why is that, Kevin?
You'll lose me. Already out the door trying to find the Parks and Rec.
I've already sent it to you. You can look at it in a little bit. But
oh, thank you. Oh, there we go.
You're welcome.
Is that going to do it for
that'll
us
do
tonight?
it for me.
That'll do it for us tonight here at Verbal Tap. I'm Kevin. Thanks for listening.
Good night and good fight.
The second rule of improv. That's the rule no one talks about. That's when it's just don't be a dick to your co-host. That's what that rule is.
There was your
Just throwing it out
is
there.
also, Kevin, I've done more improv than you, so I don't really think you get to tell me how improv works.